Hey everyone, Sam here. Three stocks I want on your radar right now are Roblox, FTAI, and Affirm. FTAI is an aviation company. Let's start with Roblox. I'm going to jump right into the screen share here. You're probably familiar with Roblox. They're the game that your kids or your nieces or nephews are all about. You can see they had this earnings just today, and the gap up, they're actually holding for the most part, a little bit of a retracement technically, but let's jump into what the company is and why you might be interested in this, even though it's up about 120% from the 200-day moving average. So it's an online platform. If you're not familiar, users create and play games. And instead of just reporting revenue, they report bookings because people buy in-game currency, kind of like, Clash of Clans, or it's kind of like online gambling for children that's illegal. That is legal, actually. That's the important part. In Q2, bookings exploded 50% year over year to 1.5 billion, almost far ahead of estimates, and revenue hit over a billion. So that's a big deal. They raised full year guidance, got major traction. If you've heard of Grow a Garden, that's one of their hits. Daily active users, DAUs, and hours spent both went up, which is big for companies like that in the sort of meta space. Losses narrowed. They're back in growth mode. So they're totally on radar as far as technically. The chart is a little bit concerning just given how extended it and the rest of the market is. You can see I actually bought and sold out of some of my buys almost immediately because it moves so much so quickly, 10% in a day or two. So it did recoil, and I didn't want to hold into earnings, but this isn't about me. This is about you. And earnings have now been released. The earnings are good. So if you want to buy this, there is an opportunity on a high volume close set up here at the end of the day. Or if you're feeling ambitious or happen to see this earlier, you could buy it off of one of these ascending moving averages like the 5-day or the 10-day, which is this pink for the 5-day at around 130 bucks, depending on where it settles down. Now, let's jump into FTAI. They they lease and service jet engines. So commercial fleet jet engines. Great Q2 revenue, 600 plus million, 300 plus million in EBITDA. EBITDA is kind of a messy number, but the point is that they have some type of profit, or they're saying they do. 1.5 cents dollars a share, beating by 25 cents earnings per share. So it is a beat, but more important than the actual numbers is the result of how people moved the stock, and it moved up. So, it wasn't a sell the news, it was a good earnings reaction. And it's one of the few companies that actually issued confident guidance when other companies were not issuing guidance when those tariff announcements came out earlier. And that's because their business relies on US based uh, engines and aftermarket contracts, so they aren't really exposed to cross border. I'm not even sure that they can sell their components basically to other countries. So most of their supply chain and demand is domestic, built around US certified repair channels, even. So this is a real US company. So all the tariff news that just has been sending the market in a free fall. We saw what happened to copper yesterday, which is absolutely ridiculous. It could happen to other companies, but it's not going to happen to FTAI, almost certainly. So that really makes it a more durable and predictable business. I did take along, but follow your own risk management. You can see my risk management is extremely cautious, and I took a little loss immediately. But you could take this again, maybe risking open or risking this sort of level where it pivoted off of, depending on how you play these. It's up to you. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm here to give you ideas that I think are great. So great that I actually buy the stocks in many cases. Affirm looks like it's shaping up well. This is the payments company, buy now, pay later. Um, Always something that the US loves. We love credit here. And they do have some tailwinds, big pickup in gross merchandise volume, GMV, payments being processed through their service, through their software. It doesn't mean that their EBITDA, earnings before blah, 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 amortization or whatever profit is excellent, but GMV is great to grow, especially for like a venture backed type company, which I Got to assume they are. Um, they're on the path to profitability. We'll give them that. And Upstart is also doing well as well. So that's a good sign for this sort of fintech public company space. Upstart had improved borrower quality, which is excellent for getting paid back loans, and renewed institutional funding. So these are kind of venture stocks, but the point is that technically they look good. So as long as people keep buying them, they're going to keep going up, and you can get in with a tight risk reward. You don't have to worry about buying, Meta, for example, which is a very mature company. You can buy a more immature company that also looks like it has more upside, and you don't have to worry about its immaturity because you can risk a level like, 66, or, even yesterday's close up at 67 and a half, if you want to get technical with it. But buy it however you like. It doesn't have an earnings overhang. A lot of these companies are reporting earnings soon, and Affirm doesn't have that until the end of August. So big deal there. So with that said, Roblox accelerating again, a little extended, but totally on the radar for anyone who's serious about stocks right now. FTAI, smaller company, aviation, but domestic, and macro noise isn't really going to affect them as much. And then Affirm riding the buy now, pay later wave, arguably the leader. So those are the stocks that could skyrocket very soon. Take a look at them. Drop a comment down below. Um, you know, share this video with somebody if you think there's something they could benefit, just even one of these stocks. And you guys are awesome. I will see you guys in the next one. Laters.